Okay, let's do this.
You crazy as hell.
Alert! NYPD's in the news. A dwarf fights back and says, "You're taking away jobs from me, Peter," and much, much more. Let's get into it on the Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. It always means so much to me. On my camera, I need to get a new camera. It means so much to me that you take time in your day to hang out with me. Thank you. It's Friday. We made it, people. Always a good day when we finally make it to Friday. Let's get straight into the news. Oh, if you want to support my show, you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. I'd greatly appreciate it. That's buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. Link is in this description below. Let's get into the news. So, Peter Dinklage was in the news yesterday for saying that Snow White portrays smaller people, dwarves, in a negative light, and he pushed back, and we got a new exclusive interview. Peter Dinklage, just 7 of us. Peter Dinklage just put 7 of us out of a job. Peter Dinklage putting dwarves out of a job. 7 of us as Disney for canceling 7 dwarves from Snow White. Remarkable remake because of the woke multimillionaire Game of Thrones star said they were offensive. Well, that's kind of what it ultimately is, isn't it? A lot of this woke stuff is to destroy it, is to get rid of it, is to change culture, change the whole fabric of culture, change everything about culture to an extent. Let's hear from the horse's mouth himself. All right here. So this is Peter Dinklage right here talking about his views on the thing.
Yeah, but
they're
very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah,
but you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah,
and 7 dwarves.
Sure.
So, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah,
I know. That makes no sense to me.
Well,
you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward
sorry
story of 7 dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Well,
have I done nothing to advance the cause?
I don't understand. What's the critique? I genuinely don't. It's just like you can't make a movie like that. I mean, as he played Tyrion Lannister as a dwarf, so I don't understand what's the deal. But here is an actor, Dylan Postl. And to be fair, I've never heard of this guy in my entire life. Rails against Peter Dinklage for pushing Disney to change characters of 7 Dwarfs Snow White adaptation. So you're taking away roles of not just 1, but 7 little people. This is his pushback against Peter.
If a dwarf just dreams of being an actor, and in a Disney film, this role is made for them. So now you're taking these roles of not just 1, but 7 little people away because you feel like you have to make progression. It's so stupid. It's just dumb. You're actually doing worse for the community than better. And by saying they're these cave-dwelling Neanderthal kind of people, no. They lived in a cottage, mind you, surrounded by gems, so they were rich, and they were working-class dwarves. He didn't do his research.
Of course he didn't do the research, and that's pretty much how all of this is, isn't it? That no one actually does the research, no one actually thinks of the nuance, no one actually thinks of more deeply maybe what they're doing and some of the ramifications of what they're doing to destroy culture. They're just doing it because they feel like they're on this high horse. They feel like they have a mission to make everybody say, look at me. I don't see what the other thing like the pushback from it, because Peter Dinklage just said, "Come on, man. I mean, we can't have dwarves. It's just like people are in caves, so it's like, duh." I think this guy gets kind of spot on right at the beginning. Let's hear this beginning part.
Dwarf just dreams of being an actor, and in a Disney film, this role is made for them. So now you're taking these roles of not just one, but 7 little people away, because
and that has always been my critique with some of this wokeism and this cancel culture and just our overall temperament with society and culture today, is that it constantly wants to destroy. It never wants to like create. It's so consumed. We're such a culture of just like being consumed with destruction, whether it's, politicians, people's careers, what people create, especially art today in today's world, history. We are a culture that's obsessed with destruction. Is that on purpose? Some people would argue that. Is it part of the Cultural Revolution? Mao Zedong? That's another arguing point. But there are people right now that are just obsessed with getting rid or destroying things. That's like you're seeing this whole push for Joe Rogan to be taken off Spotify. You're seeing all these artists like, now this other artist, like, and I just saw Barry Manilow got put out, but then he pushed back and said, actually, I didn't say anything of that nature. But there are more artists that are coming out against this. And then you have all these like prominent Hollywood types, which is ironic because they're actors. They're people that thrive on art, thrive on art that it makes you think, changes the way you view the world, pushes your boundaries, can be controversial. They thrive on this stuff because that's what makes great actors and actresses. That's what makes great movies. The more controversial a movie is, tends to be, makes the movie better. The more a movie makes you uncomfortable, it makes you feel things that you wouldn't normally feel, it tends to make a better movie. But now we just want to dumb down everything and make people feel comfortable and make certain classes of citizens, they can only be portrayed in a positive light. They can only be portrayed in whatever light that community deems is okay to be portrayed as, which is such a weird concept in itself. Like, okay, you can make a movie about white men, but then you can only talk about white men in these categories. You can only put me in this category. You can only put me as a angry, conservative, white supremacist Republican that wants to tear down the forest and drive huge trucks and blow huge smoke clouds out my truck and pour my gasoline and change my oil on my driveway and just pour my oil in the sewers because I don't care about nothing. You can only portray people in certain lights, and that's why I always have a huge problem. That's why so many movies out today suck. They're just bad. Because everyone's so concerned about equity and being equitable in movies, and are the right characters portrayed rightly, and you can't just make a movie. You can't just create a character. Like, I can't just create a character if they're a certain class or deemed a marginalized community, even if they're celebrated, even if the president celebrates them and actresses and actors celebrate them and there's movies about them and there's whole shows about them, there's a whole month to celebrate them, they're still considered marginal. I don't know how that freaking works logically, but we can go there. That's my problem with art in today's world, and it's being ruined. And like this guy right here, he's like, I'm a dwarf actor. I'm struggling for roles. I'm not Peter Dinklage. I'm not like the king. Or the best actor in my category of human, and you're taking away. You have the power to destroy, and you choose to destroy rather than build up. Rather than say something like, you know what, I'm not going to take this role. I'm going to allow other people to take it for me because I don't feel comfortable with this role, but also I think other people need to be represented other than myself. Like this guy. What's his name? Dylan Postl. Let me know your thoughts on this because I just think I just get so tired of people and their motives to destroy rather than build up and create. And I think we're seeing it played live before our eyes as we have a culture that is constantly consumed with ruining people's lives rather than, just being focused on themselves and trying to build up themselves and create them things themselves. It's easier to destroy than create, isn't it? All right, let's go on to the next story, as this story is pretty sad. Let's get into this one. Oh, let's first start off with this one before we get sad. Here we go. Twitter outraged over Marvel actress Evangeline Lilly publicizing stance against vaccine mandates. Disgusting. She is not allowed to speak out of turn. She is not allowed to be different. Marvel character Evangeline Lilly started a social media firestorm this week by publicly denouncing the COVID-19 mandates. Basically, if you're against mandates, you're against the vaccine. That's statistically, that's the science. Lilly has always previously expressed unpopular opinions about social media distancing in 2020. Unpopular opinions. I feel like that's popular. The caption ran apart. I believe no one should be forced to inject their body with anything against their will under any threat whatsoever. This is not the way. Of course, it's not the way. But as always, like I said before, these leftist types are so consumed with destruction. They don't go create something on your own. Go make a movie and only hire people that take the vaccine. I don't care. But you're not allowed to be an actress or an actor and have this point of view. You're not allowed to be human. You're not allowed to have a platform and say these things. This blue check mark. Recast. Immediate. They should have recast Letitia. They should have recast Letitia Wright. They could recast Evangeline Lilly. Ain't nothing like that special about them. There are much more talented and sane actors out there who can take up the spot and make this set a safe place. Safety. We have a generation of people that are consumed with safety and consumed with destruction. Put those two together. Evangeline Lilly is in Marvel films, and apparently she would rather be stuck in a production of Steel Magnolias. Boom. At Waco Playhouse with Christy Swanson and Gina Carano. Maybe we could have all these babes in a different movie together. This guy says, F Evangeline Lilly. Marvel Comics Studios won't even have to recast her. They already have the Wasp, Michelle Pfeiffer. We need no tolerance for this foolishness anymore. That's right. Put them in a cage. Put them in a camp or something. Make them work and stuff. And then Candace Owens, what has she said? Evangeline Lilly will be on the wrong side of the left, which means on the right side of history. I guess, Candace, time will tell who's on the right side of history and who's wrong. You're not allowed to speak out of turn. You're not allowed to have a different train of thought. As we saw yesterday with The View, them talking about Clarence Thomas and Amy Barry Conant, they were discrediting Amy as a woman and discrediting Clarence Thomas as a black man because he shared a different opinion. Ergo, she is an actor or an actress. She is an actress in popular movies, and she spoke out of turn. You're not allowed to be this type of person. You're not allowed to believe this type of way and be an actress. Because after all, I need to know the political opinions of my actors and actresses as they portray a character that's other than themselves in order for me to enjoy the movie. I get so tired of these people. Tigerman says they're always wrestling. Oh, God. That's so messed up. Oh, God. All right. This is a really sad story. Let's get into this. Fallen New York Police Department Detective Jason Rivera's grieving widow calls out Manhattan DA Bragg in heartbreaking eulogy. This funeral service was really sad. I listened to it for a while, listened to his brother speak a little bit. Apparently this guy wanted nothing more in his life than to be a cop. I mean, apparently he grew up watching Cops and he loved Live PD, which I also love Live PD. I can't believe they freaking took that away because that was like one of my favorite shows to watch on Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday nights. It was always a good time. But I want to here's a clip from her today. I think it's important to hear the words of her if we're going to talk about her. Let's listen.
Jason is so happy right now that all of you are here. Through pain and sorrow, this is exactly how he would have wanted to be remembered. Like a true hero. Or like I used to call him, Big P.O. Rivera. You have the whole nation on gridlock. And although you won't be here anymore, I want you to live through me. The system continues to fail us. We are not safe anymore. Not even the members of the service. I know you were tired of these laws, especially the ones from the new DA. I hope he's watching you speak through me right now. I'm sure all of our blue family is tired too. But I promise, we promise, that your death won't be in vain. I love you to the end of time. We'll take the watch from here.
It's really hard to hear a grieving widow in that moment felt the need to address even the DA and the system in which her husband worked under. I can't imagine being in that circumstance and that you have to give the eulogy of your spouse, who is in a lot of ways a direct result of what the DAs have done, some of the laws, the mayors, Bill de Blasio. All these people are liable for a lot of the temperament of this country in an entire summer of destruction. But to, for icing on the cake, here's the icing on the cake right here. The rapper accused of shooting the NYPD officer was just released on bond. Williams reportedly planned to use his advance cash on his contract with the Interscope Records to post a $15,000 bond in cash to secure the bond. Of course this kid's out. Of course he's out. Again, I keep talking about this. Is that we have a culture of people that will look at this kid and be like way more empathetic towards this kid than the police officer that was shot, than towards his wife that is grieving of the death of her husband. They will be more empathetic towards this kid and be like, well, what's this kid's home life like? Like, what, how tough of a background did he come from? Like, blah, blank, blank, blank. It's like that Waukesha guy that killed all those people on the Christmas Day parade that was just released on bond. I mean, we have a cop killer that was just released on bond. These are the policies in which people voted for, though. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand why you would live in some of these areas with some of these DAs that constantly release these horrible criminals out on bond. It makes no sense to me. But again, we're in this cultural revolution shift where criminals are allowed to do whatever they want right now. And people pretend like they care about the crime, but they don't. As far as politicians and corporate media and stuff like that. I mean, just this last weekend, I was just doing a story on Chicago. 22 people shot. An 8-year-old child killed. 8 years old. I don't hear anything in the corporate media about that. In fact, Lori Lightfoot just put out a tweet about getting vaccinated and you can earn some money. I think there are a lot bigger problems in your city, Lori, than trying to raffle off some money for a vaccine. The murder rate in your city is worse than most places around the world. In fact, I don't know if it might be the worst. A lawless society is a crumbling society. I'll just put it frankly. All right. All right, next story. Let's get into some more of this. I think this is a perfect example of why so much of the media is the problem. And in fact, that they're more like people like me. They're just like content creators. They're just like commenting on stories rather than like debunking or trying to figure out why, or maybe going to some of these people, this Canadian convoy. Washington Post mocks massive Canadian trucker convoy protesting vaccine mandates and labels trucks as fascist. Most idiotic statement ever, but, you know, we're in the altered reality where up is down and down is up. So when you have an entire group of people that are protesting actual, you know, fascist, dictatorship-style, authoritarian-esque moves, like forcing you to undergo that, it's labeled as fascist, when in fact it's the complete opposite. And these people will argue to the death that actually these truckers are being fascist. It makes no sense. Words don't have meaning anymore, so you can just make it mean whatever you want. In reality, it seems like you can just like call people that are for freedom fascist all of a sudden, and people that are against actual fascistic means to make you submit and live by, those people are seen as freedom fighters. Like, it makes no sense. But here's the post. This is a little cartoon. And all the trucks have little fascist symbols on the side. We're in an alternate reality. The anti-fascists are actually, like, the Antifa is protesting against, protesting for vaccine mandates. It like nothing makes sense anymore. Like, just admit that you're a fascist. Like, admit that, like, forcing people to do something is a fascist thing. And somebody having freedom of choice is anti-fascist in the actual definition, not whatever made-up definition you made up today. But instead of like a major newspaper, major news publication, instead of them, you know, diving deeper into the story to figure out why they're doing this and the kind of actual impact and their message and stuff like that, and let these people's voice be heard, they just mock it. It's amazing how the us versus them mentality seems to play out, where it's the people with money, the people with high degrees, put the people that are doing the work in which they can actually live, eat, have gas, milk, whatever. Those people need to be put in their place. I've always said that the left creates a bigger chasm between the ultra rich and the very poor. And you see it. You see it plainly within the news. You see it plainly within politicians by the way they talk about people like deplorables, these low life, dumb, southern, whatever category they want to use for people that have a conservative or right-leaning bent. Always an us versus them with them. But it's always, we just live in irony. If you're not laughing, you're crying. All right. Next story, and then we're going to get into some LOLs. Okay. A family who died in freezing cold by U.S. and Canadian border is identified. It's an Indian family. Canadian authorities believe the deaths of 4 Indian nationals found steps away from the Canada-U.S. border are connected to a human smuggling scheme. Like I've always said with illegal immigration, it's not all just people, people are looking for a better life, but also people getting across the border, horrible things happen in order for that to happen. So when you open border and you allow things to just walk across, you are encouraging and, in fact, perpetuating the problem of things like fentanyl coming across, human smuggling, physical abuse, sexual abuse. It's modern day slavery. But, let's all pretend like nothing like this is happening and everything's okay. And that's just a right-wing ideology that's perpetuating this theory that there are horrible things happening on our borders. But this is a perfect example. Like, you won't get stories like this as much on the Texas border because I'm sure it's happening all the time. Maybe not necessarily people dying of negative 35 degrees, but by other means, absolutely. Let me know your thoughts on this as well. All right, let's get into some laughing. Daddy needs a good laugh. Shout out to Libs at TikTok. All right, here we go. What's this? Spirit Airlines. Perfect. You already know it's going to be good. Let's go.
Once again. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Sorry.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
Once again, for those passengers who are joining us now, face coverings are federally mandated. Please ensure your face coverings over your nose and mouth at all times. Please still have the boarding.
I know. I was just okay. I'll wear that one, but
wearing like your face coverings, just let us know. We can rearrange another way of transportation for you to get to Tampa.
I mean, excuse me. I'll wear this, but if she can give me a reason, like, that I have to turn it off, like, is there a reason, like,
it's offensive.
It's offensive?
It can be to some people, so we're not gonna go back and forth. Just go ahead and put the blue one on, okay?
Okay, so my mask is offensive.
That's fine.
I know. I was just asking a question. I'm not being confrontational. It's just.
So we're gonna put the blue one on, right?
Yes. Sure.
This man says, "Let's go, Brandon." And FJB.
Wow, this is not America anymore. This is not America anymore. I think yours is offensive then. Right. This is NFL?
Right. She just wanted to be right.
I have it all recorded.
Yeah.
I'm sure part of him wanted to have this recorded, but also the fact that he's right. Well, we have a bunch of people, we have a bunch of little policemen running around the world, policing the world, telling you what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say, what you're allowed to wear, what you're not allowed to wear, what you're allowed to believe, what you're not allowed to believe. And if you don't submit, well, we're going to cancel you. We're going to get rid of you. We're going to put a mask over your mask. You take away categories, you take away culture, and you think a country is going to survive? Is it a part of the plan? You tell me. Wink. This. A school forced a young girl to sit outside in the cold for hours without access.
How long did you have to sit in that vestibule? How long were you in that vestibule?
Since 9.
You've been in that vestibule since 9 a.m.
Yes.
You sat right in here since 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Did they come to offer you a drink?
No.
Did they come to offer you food?
No.
Did you ask to use the bathroom?
Yes, but
You were denied that, correct?
Catch walked me outside. He walked me all the way around.
He walked you around the building
Yeah.
to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the cold.
In the cold?
Well, yeah.
What, do you have to go in the outhouse?
No. I went inside. But
Okay.
he made me walk all the way around because I wouldn't wear a mask.
Okay, so you've been in here for 6 hours.
Yes.
Okay. What time is it right now?
1:41.
Say it louder.
1:41.
My daughter has been in here since 9 a.m. It is now 1:41 p.m.
New York.
Without access to food, water, or bathroom. Let that be on public record. Let's go.
That's crazy. I'm telling you, it's that cultural revolution stuff. They're willing to do whatever. They're willing to, as what's the French president say, Macron say, make the unvaccinated feel uncomfortable. If you don't fall in line with how you're supposed to be by our set of rules, we're going to make your life uncomfortable. And we're going to have the moral authority to do so. And if you question me, you're being fascist. Okay. All right. A little bitch lap of reality. All right, next. What? Kids radio show? Oh no. What's this? Little kids radio?
Dad, I wanted to ask you, have you ever been touched in your life?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to admit that I have actually been touched before. It's not a pleasant experience, but, it's a rule. No touching a llama. It's a rule, But sometimes, there are people who break the rule, and sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. Exceptions.
Yep.
Exceptions.
Yeah.
Rules.
What?
Yep.
Exceptions to rules.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So, this is a little joke.
What the? What the frick is going on? This is so. I don't even gonna watch that. Okay. This is not cute. Just stop doing this to animals, or I'm gonna freaking lose my cool. Okay, not even gonna. All right, let's see what else is going on. As always, I like to go to the post-millennial. I feel like they do a good job putting videos together, sourcing them, and making little clips that we can just look at and.
Imagine.
Uh-oh. Our boy is angry. Joe Biden erupts during his speech today. I almost watched that. I've been working a lot lately, so let's watch Biden erupt.
Imagine being the parent, making the minimum wage or twice the minimum wage, and having a child with type 1 diabetes, knowing that if you can't, and have no insurance, knowing if you cannot get that money for the insulin, your child may die. In addition to your child, it strips you of your dignity, damn it.
You crazy.
Can you imagine looking at your child and you know
you crazy
what
as
they
hell.
need and not be able to do it?
Quick question. Who does he remind you when he yells like that? I can only think of one person. Either dead or alive. I don't know. Let's go down to Argentina and find out. All right. Kid Rock. I'm sorry, what did you say? Fauci? Oh, no. Fauci's about to say a no-no word.
let's just look at the facts, Chuck. We've had the original Wuhan strain, and we had alpha, beta.
Oh, what was that?
We've had the original Wuhan strain.
Oh,
come on, man.
When you say the quiet part out loud. Dude, Tiger Man, yeah, he's always yelling. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is I'm ready for some sex appeal right here. Here we go. Can you handle Joe when he's like this? Because, Mama, it feels so good.
I want every precinct. I want every precinct. I want every precinct. I want every precinct.
Oh, yeah. God. Why does he do that? Why does he feel like he needs to whisper? I'm going to whisper. Girl, let me whisper in your ear. Let me tell you how I feel. It's so weird. Okay. Here we go. A little Biden blunder. I'm here for this. This is the part where there's a part where we play the game. What is Biden saying?
No, there are another 3,300 bridges here in Pennsylvania, some of which are just as old and just as decrepit condition.
You
as that
crazy
bridge
as
was.
hell.
No, there are another.
Decrepit. If you're not laughing, you're crying. As always. Little Newsmax clip.
And as President Biden has said, the United States holds this as a sacred obligation. And we will do
Pentagon.
right by that commitment. And Mr. Putin can do the right thing as well. There's no reason that this situation has to devolve into conflict. He can choose to de-escalate. He can order his troops away. He can choose dialogue and diplomacy. Whatever he decides, the United States will stand with our allies and partners.
We're worried about Ukraine's borders, but not our own. Thank God. Our priorities are... Oh, General Mark Milley. This guy. I can't believe he's still in a job.
It's the policy of the United States government to continue to support an independent Ukraine in their goals. And we are continuing our effort to enhance their ability to protect themselves. We strongly encourage Russia to stand down and to pursue a resolution through diplomacy. It's the policy.
Okay. Ooh. Look at this video of hundreds of officers coming from that funeral. I can't imagine what it's like to be an officer in a liberal city with liberal DAs, and you're just like locking people up, you're, stopping crime, and then all of a sudden they're out a day later on bond. Like, what's the point? Oh my God, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here for when it comes to politics. Governor Jim Justice has a message for Bette Midler.
Baby dog tells Bette Midler and all those out there, kiss her, honey. You crazy
My God. Dude, okay. You know what they say? Your dog looks a lot like your owner, or whatever. The owner looks a lot like your dog usually. And good God, I don't know if that's ever been more true in my life than seeing this right before my eyes. It's like two peas in a pod. I do love how even the sign language girl's laughing. Good to see that there's, still comedy in politics. 'Cause I miss laughing. I don't miss the crazy guy. What's his name? Who's in office? I can't remember. Russia should withdraw from Russia. I was like, Tiger Man, I was like struggling reading that for a second because I was like, am I reading this wrong in my head? Russia should withdraw from Russia, damn it. But seriously though, I mean, I understand being like worried, like if we amass like a huge troop presence on the a border of Mexico, like we care about our border, but it would make them uncomfortable. But at the same time, why would it matter? Yeah. Again, like I've always said about this whole NATO thing, Germany seems to not care at all about what's going on in Ukraine, as they want their Nord Stream 2 pipeline above everything else. Oh, gosh. Here's an Axios reporter telling us what we already know.
Democrats are spooked by the idea of appearing with Joe Biden, which I think speaks to his standing inside of the party, given that his poll numbers are somewhere in the low 40s. He's going to be in Pennsylvania. 3 Democrats were invited. Only one of the 3 will show up. A candidate for governor or a candidate for Senate will not. When we look at social media in terms of people talking and about their alignment with Joe Biden, you're seeing a lot of these candidates in competitive races not wanting to be Biden Democrats. One reporter asked Steny Hoyer, the number 2 House Democrat, should people run as Biden Democrats? And he said they should run as Democrats who deliver. So not a ringing endorsement for saying you're a Biden Democrat. The reason that this matters is it just speaks to his power right now politically. People want to be next to a winner. They want to feel like they have the route to strength.
Who's the winner right now in the Democratic Party? Because literally I cannot think of one. I mean, have you heard of the Squad lately causing up stir, or are they just falling in line because they're just grifters? Like I've always said, why I don't feel like talking about them ever, because they're just grifters. They're not like people don't actually care. They're just they feel like you're excited about them, so they'll do whatever they'll say whatever they can so you get excited and you continue to vote for them. But Biden is losing in the polls. Democrats are bowing out constantly. You're going to have a lot of new members in the Democratic Party, except for people like Nancy Pelosi, who decided it's her turn to run. She hasn't done enough. But she'll win because she's in San Francisco, and the elite mentality of we don't need to change. Why change what we have? It's already good. She's doing a good job, whatever good means. I don't know. But you're going to see more Democrats slowly ease away from Biden, even Kamala Harris, even Clinton, even that's why Barack Obama was never that close to Biden. And it was like such a struggle for him to come out and speak for him because, well, you don't want to associate with this dude. He's not as good of a person as the media portrays him to be. Oh, here we go. Here's a little poll number, but it's always refreshing to hear from CNN.
But CNN's new poll of polls has Biden's overall job approval rating at 42%, and that includes a new Monmouth survey that says only 30% of Americans think that President Biden is very concerned with the economic well-being of average Americans. But CNN's new poll of polls...
Oops. Yeah, of course. You'd be insane to think he's doing a good job. Like, literally, I see all these people on TikTok. I see people, like, on YouTube videos talking about how good of a job he's doing. My first thought is, even people in your own party don't think he's doing a good job. Also, you should start reading your news and stop listening to people, whatever echo chamber you're in, because they're obviously not trying to be very objective about what's going on in the world. But, you know, Biden's doing a great job. Right out of the gate, shut down that pipeline. Gas prices rose, skyrocketed. Probably going to be like average $4 a gallon in March. He's doing a great job. Inflation is great. Supply chain, fantastic. COVID is completely destroyed, like he said. Remember when inflation was transitory? LOL. Oh, here we go. All right. They're just like loading up on CNN. I love it. CNN talking about inflation? I thought it was just transitory. It's going to work itself out, right? Joe Biden said yesterday that it's 1/3 of the problem is because of cars. Not because we're printing money. No.
Inflation is a giant and ugly problem. Today's economic report shows that consumer prices rose by 6.5% in the fourth quarter alone. I want to give you some context on that. That is more than 3 times greater than what we saw before the pandemic began. And it is the biggest increase in prices since 1981. the time of stagflation. And for the millions of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, it is a problem that cannot be overstated. When milk doubles in price, that's a problem. Gas prices.
I love that all these old people still use milk as a talking point. I think majority, I don't drink milk. I stopped drinking milk a long time. I don't think any of my friends drink milk. We all drink like oat milk or something if we drink milk at all. I feel like milk is such an old school price point. But I digress.
Prices are up 50%. Yes, from pandemic lows, but that affects people. Prices for used cars up.
For me, it's meat. 12.5. You know, I love that meat.
You crazy as hell.
Thank you. 12.5% used cars, but it's really gas too. I mean, all of us have cars, and not all of us work from home. You know, not all of us live in New York City where we just take the transportation everywhere, the subway, and get stabbed at night or have to deal with people pooping on us. I certainly dealt with a lot when I lived in Chicago and I took the L because, good God, that was always a scary night of my life. Let's keep listening.
37%. And other food staples, I mentioned an anecdote about milk, but meats, poultry, and fish up 12.5%. And we all live in the real world. We all know that it's everywhere.
Do we all live in the real world? Because there's a lot of people that are using terms and definitions that don't match up to the actual term and definition as we strive to create a new reality?
It's everywhere. Inflation is a giant and ugly problem. Today's economic report shows that consumer prices rose by 6.5% in the fourth quarter alone. I want to give you some context on that. That is more than 3 times greater than what we saw before the pandemic began. And it is the biggest increase in prices since 1981, the time of stagflation. And for the millions of Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, it is a problem that cannot be overstated. When milk doubles in price, that's a problem. Gas prices are up 50%. Yes, from pandemic lows, but that affects people. Prices for used cars up 37%. And other food staples, I mentioned an anecdote about milk, but meats, poultry, and fish up 12.5%. And we all live in the real.
This is a problem. It's a huge, 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 huge problem. And I don't think it's going to be fixed by just another administration coming in. Because even Republicans seem to have a desire to want to do non-stop spending. They all pretend like they're fiscal conservatives here to balance the budget, but they don't. I don't know. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys for joining me. And thank you for all those that are on Facebook right now, joining me live, and Twitch and Twitter and YouTube. Tiger Man, thanks for getting in the chat and saying what's up. I know it's scary sometimes chatting with me. I'm a hawk on the radio. What can I say? Hope you guys have a freaking fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your life. And just remember, there are people outside on bail that just recently killed a cop. And they just got a new record deal from Interscope Records. Praise God. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next episode of The Derek O'Shea Show. Welcome to The Derek O'Shea Show, where we discuss culture, news, politics, and more. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be sure to tell your friends and family about the revolution.